5 sexual secrets narcissists don't want you to know. The bedroom is their battlefield, not a place of love. You walk into the bedroom thinking it's a sanctuary, a space for love, for truth, for connection. But with a narcissist, it's not that at all. It's a war zone you didn't even know you were drafted into. Every time you undressed, you thought you were getting closer. Every time you gave, you thought it was safe. But it wasn't. It was a performance, and they were playing a game you didn't even know existed. They study you, your reactions, your movements, your expressions, not to connect, not to love, but to conquer. Every sigh they draw from your lips becomes a checkbox in their mental scoreboard. It's not affection, it's ammunition. And the moment you give in, they notch it as a win, not a bond. You're not a partner to them. You're a trophy, a symbol of their seductive power. This is why, even after the most intimate moments, you feel emptier than before. You lie there wondering why you don't feel loved, why you feel used. Because that's exactly what happened. You were used. You weren't embraced. You were consumed. You weren't touched. You were targeted. Narcissists don't make love. They stage power plays. They use your vulnerability against you. They pretend to meet you in your softness while secretly feeding their ego with every second of your surrender. You think you're sharing your soul. They think they're winning control. That's not intimacy. That's emotional theft. They turn the sacred act of closeness into psychological warfare, and you never saw it coming. Because when someone touches your body, you assume they see your heart, but they don't. Not if they're a narcissist. They see a tool, a resource, a fix. You become less of a person and more of a mirror they manipulate to reflect their greatness back to themselves. And when you start to wake up, when you begin to question the depth, the purpose, the love they deflect, they gaslight, they say you're too sensitive, too needy, too dramatic. Suddenly, the person who made you feel seen is blind to your pain. And that's how they keep you stuck, confused, disarmed. But you were never crazy. You were never too much. You were never wrong for wanting intimacy to feel like love. You were just loving someone who wasn't capable of it. And that's not your failure, it's their limitation. The pain you felt wasn't proof you failed. It was the evidence that your heart was honest in a war that was rigged from the start. You have to stop asking why they couldn't love you right and start asking why you stayed after you saw they couldn't. That's not blame, that's power. That's where your freedom begins. Because once you recognize the battlefield, you stop bringing flowers. You stop offering peace to someone who's already declared war. From now on, your body becomes a sacred space, not a trap they can infiltrate. Your intimacy becomes a fortress, not a playground for someone's wounded ego. Your sexuality becomes your own again. Not something to be used, but something to be honored, protected, celebrated, because your body is not just flesh, it's your soul's temple. Your touch is not a gift to be stolen, it's a sacred exchange for someone worthy. And the moment you reclaim it, you don't just heal, you rise. You awaken. You set fire to the lies that kept you imprisoned in someone else's illusion. So hear this loud and clear. The bedroom was never the problem. You weren't too loving. You weren't too trusting. You were just too real for someone who survives off faking love. That's over now. This chapter of manipulation is closed. A new story begins soon where you own every inch of your truth. Your love is no longer a battlefield. It's a blessing. And from this moment forward, it will only be shared with someone who knows how to handle it with the reverence it deserves. They use sex as a hook, then withdraw it as a weapon. At first, you think you found heaven. The intensity, the connection, the spark, it's almost cinematic. You've never felt so desired, so understood, so alive. The sex is electric, magnetic. You begin to believe that maybe this is what true chemistry feels like. But what you don't know is that it's bait, carefully crafted bait. Narcissists give like kings in the beginning. They want you intoxicated, hooked, addicted. So they serve up euphoria, passion, and pleasure until you begin to feel dependent on it. It becomes a drug on you crave, not just physically, but emotionally. Because what they're giving you isn't just sex, it's false validation. And then it stops. just like that. Cold, the affection vanishes, the warmth disappears. You're left wondering what you did wrong. Did I say something? Was I too needy? Did I not please them enough? You spiral into self-doubt, desperate to win back what they once gave so freely. But this is the trap. They've flipped the switch on purpose. Withholding isn't random, it's a strategy. They want you begging. They want you chasing. Because as long as you're chasing, they're in control. And control is all they ever really wanted. Not your love, not your body, not your truth. The moment you start seeking their affection again, you're no longer an equal. You're a puppet, dancing for a taste of what they used to offer. And when they do give you a glimpse of that affection again, it's not to love you, it's to reset the hook. So the cycle continues. Pleasure, withdrawal, confusion, repeat. It's a power game masked as passion, and it breaks you down. You lose your sense of self, your confidence fades. You begin to see your worth through their lens, only valuable when desired, only lovable when wanted. That is the slow erosion of your identity, and it's designed to keep you small. But there's another way. You can wake up, you can pull back the curtain and see the manipulation for what it is. You can stop equating their affection with your worth. You can choose not to perform, not to chase, not to beg, because you're not a puppet, you're a powerhouse. Real intimacy doesn't come with emotional blackmail. It doesn't vanish as punishment. It doesn't demand your silence or sacrifice. Real intimacy is consistent, honest, grounded in mutual respect, not control. You were taught to settle for crumbs when you deserve the whole feast. You were taught to equate chaos with love. But love is not chaos. Love is calm. It's consistent. It's courageous. And anything less is not your destiny. It's your training. And you can untrain it. You can choose to no longer be a hostage to someone else's emotional extortion. You were never too much. You were never too little. You were just loving someone who couldn't see you clearly. That's no longer your burden to carry. You don't owe them another chance to mistreat you. You owe yourself a chance to reclaim what's always been yours, your dignity. So now, take a stand. No more chasing, no more apologizing, no more shrinking. The sex they weaponized will no longer define you. The love they dangled like a carrot will no longer entice you. You are not starved. You are sacred. And anyone who wants access to your body from this moment on must first earn access to your soul with respect, with truth, with consistency, your body, your power, your revolution. Let's get something straight right now. What happened to you was not love. It wasn't intimacy. It wasn't connection. It was control disguised as passion. It was manipulation dressed up as romance. And the moment you stop romanticizing the pain is the moment you start reclaiming your power. Narcissists don't want you to know these secrets because the second you do, their game is over. When you understand how they use your sexuality as a leash, you cut it. When you see how they mirrored your desires just to own your soul, you shatter the illusion. And when you recognize that their love was never love at all, it was theft, you begin the most powerful journey of all.